नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering up service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed. And loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Hanta. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, entitled Creation, Chapter 6, the conversation between Narada and Vyasa, text number 21. Hanta asmin janmani bhavan. Hanta asmin janmani bhavan. Mam drashtum iha arhati. Mamam drashtum iharhati. Avipakva kasayanam. Avipakva kasayanam. Durdarshaha aham kuyoginam. Durdarshoham kuyoginam. Hantasmin janmani bhavan. Mamam drashtum iharhati. Avipakva kasayanam. Durdarshoham kuyoginam. Hantasmin janmani bhavan. Mamam drashtum iharhati. Avipakva kasayanam. Durdarshoham kuyoginam. Hantasmin janmani bhavan. Mamam drashtum iharhati. Avipakva kasayanam. Durdarshoham kuyoginam.
Hantasmin janmani bhavan.
Hantasmin janmani bhavan.
Mamam drashtum iharati.
Mamam drashtum iharhati.
Avipakva kashayanam.
Avipakva kasayanam.
Durdarsho aham kuyoginam.
Durdarshoham kuyoginam.
Hantasmin janmani bhavan.
Hantasmin janmani bhavan.
Mamam drashtum iharhati.
Mamam drashtum iharhati.
Avipakva kashayanam.
Avipakva kasayanam.
Durdarshoham kuyoginam.
Durdarshoham kuyoginam.
Tasmin janmani.
Hantasmin janmani bhavan. Mamam drashtum iharhati. Avipakva kasayanam. Durdarshoham kuyoginam.
Hantasmin janmani bhavan.
Hantasmin janmani bhavan.
Mamam drashtum iharhati.
Mamam drashtum iharhati.
Avipakva kasayanam.
Avipakva kasayanam.
Durdarsho aham kuyoginam.
Durdarshoham kuyoginam.
Hantasmin janmani bhavan.
Hantasmin janmani bhavan.
Man drashtum irharhati.
Mamam drashtum iharhati.
Abhipakva kasayanam.
Avipakva kasayanam.
Durdarshoham kuyoginam.
Durdarshoham kuyoginam.
Hantasmin janmani bhavan.
Hantasmin janmani bhavan.
Mamam drashtum iharhati.
Mamam drashtum iharhati.
Avipakvaha kashayanam.
Avipakva kasayanam.
Durdarshoham kuyoginam.
Durdarshoham kuyogina.
Antasmin janmani bhavan.
Hantasmin janmani bhavan.
Mamam drashtum iharhati.
Mamam drashtum iharhati.
Avipakva kasayanam.
Avipakva kasayanam.
Durdashoham kuyoginam.
Durdarshoham kuyogina.
Antasmin janmani bhavan
Hantasmin janmani bhavan.
mamam drashtum iharhati
Mamam drashtum iharhati.
avipakva shayanam
Avipakva kasayanam.
durdarsho mam kuyo ginam.
Durdarshoham kuyoginam. Online? Antasmin janmani bhavan. Mamam drashtum iharhati.
Avipakva kasayanam.
Avipakva kasayanam.
Durdarshoham kuyoginam.
Durdarshoham kuyoginam.
Hantasmin janmani bhavan.
Hantasmin janmani bhavan.
Mamam drashtam iharhati.
Mamam drashtum iharhati.
Navipakva kashayanam.
Avipakva kasayanam.
Durdarshoham kuyoginam.
Durdarshoham kuyoginam. Synonyms: Hanta, O Narada. Asmin, this. Janmani, duration of life. Bhavan, yourself. Ma, not. Mam, me. Drashtum, to see. Iha,
Iha,
here.
here.
Arhati,
Arhati,
deserve.
deserve.
Avipakva,
Avipakva,
immature.
immature.
Kasayanam,
Kashayanam,
material dirt.
material dirt.
Durdarshaha,
Durdarshaha,
difficult to be seen.
difficult to be seen.
Aham,
Aham,
I.
I.
Kuyoginam,
Kuyoginam,
incomplete in service.
incomplete in service.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada.
Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Translation. O Narada, the Lord spoke. I regret that during this lifetime you will not be able to see me anymore. Those who are incomplete in service and who are not completely free from all material taints can hardly see me. Translation with repetition. O Narada, the Lord spoke.
O Narada, the Lord spoke.
I regret that
I regret that
during this lifetime
during this lifetime
you will not be able to see me anymore.
you will not be able to see me anymore.
I'll join my this. Those who are incomplete in service
Those who are incomplete in service
and who are not completely free from all material taints
and who are not completely free from all material taints
can hardly see me.
can hardly see me.
Purport by Srila Prabhupada.
Jai Srila Prabhupada.
The personality of Godhead is described in the Bhagavad-Gita as the most pure, the supreme, and the absolute truth. There is no trace of tinge of materiality in his person. And thus one who has the slightest tinge of material affection cannot approach him. The beginning of devotional service starts from the point when one is freed from at least two forms of material modes, namely the mode of passion and the mode of ignorance. The result is exhibited by the signs of being freed from kama and lobha, lust and covetousness. That is to say, one must be freed from the desires for sense satisfaction and avarice for sense gratification. The balanced mode of nature is goodness, and to be completely freed from all material tinges is to become free from the mode of goodness also. To search the audience of God in a lonely forest is considered to be in the mode of goodness. One can go out into the forest to attain spiritual perfection, but that does not mean that one can see the Lord personally there. One must be completely freed from all material attachment and be situated on the plane of transcendence, which can see the Lord personally there. One must be completely freed from all material attachment and be situated on the plane of transcendence, which alone will help the devotee get in personal touch with the personality of Godhead. The best method is that one should live at a place where the transcendental form of the Lord is worshipped. The temple of the Lord is a transcendental place, whereas the forest is a materially good habitation. A neophyte devotee is always recommended to worship the deity of the Lord, Archana, rather than go into the forest to search out the Lord. Devotional service begins from the process of Archana, which is better than going out in the forest. In his present life, which is completely freed from all material hankerings, Sri Narada Muni does not go into the forest, although he can turn every place into Vaikuntha by his presence only. He travels from one planet to another to convert men, gods, kinnaras, gandharvas, rishis, munis, and all others to become devotees of the Lord. By his activities, he has engaged many devotees like Prahlad Maharaj, Dhruva Maharaj, and many others in the transcendental service of the Lord. A pure devotee of the Lord therefore follows in the footsteps of the great devotees like Narada and Prahlad and engages his whole time in glorifying the Lord by the process of Kirtana. Such a preaching process is transcendental to all material qualities. Thus ends the wonderful transcendental Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So, the verse that we've been waiting for some time now, where the Lord will utter some wonderful instructions, is finally here. We saw the last verse, seeing my attempt in that lonely place, the personality of Godhead, who's transcendental to all mundane description, spoke to me with gravity and pleasing words, just to mitigate my grief. So it just mentioned that the Lord spoke, but what did the Lord speak? That we can see in today's verse. And what a wonderful verse that is today. Let's understand the verse a little more closely, what the verse is telling and what Prabhupada is trying to say here. So the verse says, Hantasmin janmani bhavan mam drashtum iharhati avipakva kasayanam durdarsho aham kuyoginam. Another name of Narada Muni is Hanta. So the word that is used in the first Hanta, O Narada, that is referring to Narada Muni. Asmin janmani bhavan. In this birth, bhavan, yourself, mam drashtum iharhati. Drashtum is to see, arhati is to deserve to see. Ma is no, you cannot. Mam drashtum ma arhati. You can't see me anymore. You don't deserve to see me anymore. And this is being spoken by the Lord. Hantasmin janmani bhavan mamam drashtum iharati abhipakva kasayanam. Abhipakva is immature. Kasayanam is material dirt. Durdarsho. Durdarsho is very difficult to be seen. Aham kuyoginam, because you are incomplete in your devotional service. O Narada, the Lord spoke. That is understood. It's not there anywhere saying, because we saw that in the previous verse the Lord is about to speak. So here he is speaking. O Narada, Hanta, I regret that during this lifetime, Asmin Janmani, you will not be able to see me anymore. Mam drashtum arhati. You will not be able to see. Those who are incomplete in service, kuyogina, and who are not completely free from all material taints, kasayana and abhipakva, can hardly see me. Durdarsho, they cannot see me. This is the verse. And such a beautiful purport. Actually, the whole section of this Narada and Vedavyas, they're very simple purports, not very complicated. But there are a lot of things which Prabhupada is sharing in this purport. And as we have been seeing, it's a journey which is worth aspiring for, from that of a maidservant's son to a transcendental spaceman. Right? It's not a small thing. Let's see the translation one more time. O Narada, the Lord spoke. I regret that during this lifetime you will not be able to see me anymore. Those who are incomplete in service and who are not completely free from all material taints can hardly see me. This is the translation. I thought to myself, what can I take from this verse? So usually, one thing that you can do is, when you see a translation, see what is the main verb. So the main verb here is, the Lord is saying that during this lifetime you will not be able to see me. So the Lord is speaking, which is not a small thing. It's a very big thing. The Lord personally has appeared in front of Narada Muni, and Narada Muni, when he wanted to have more darshan, the Lord disappeared. But Narada Muni was very agitated, very disturbed, just to pacify him, because the Lord is supremely compassionate. That compassionate Lord, invisibly, he's speaking this. The Lord spoke. You will not be able to see me. That's a finite, definite sentence. You will not be able to see me. Durdarsho. It's not easy to see the Lord, but here he's saying definitely that you will not be able to see me. But one may question, why Narada Muni will not be able to see? Because he saw him. So the Lord answers that, because you are incomplete in service. So those who are incomplete in service, and the second one, not completely free from all material taints. If these two things are there, then you will not be able to see me. The two characteristics which the Lord is mentioning in the translation, incomplete in service and not completely free from all material taints, actually is taken from the words, from three words. One is abhipakva, which is translated as immature. Kasayana, which is, in the heart is filled with material dirt. And the third is kuyogina, incomplete in service. Actually, all these verses of Bhagavatam or Bhagavad-Gita, when we read, we need to see the context, and we need to understand who's speaking and why he's speaking. And we need to speak, or we need to recite those verses with that feeling. Because after all, this verse is not spoken by someone, you and me, or any other ordinary conditioned living entity. This is the Lord who's speaking. So it's not a small thing. In fact, if you read carefully Bhagavatam, there is a specific stress which is mentioned about chanting the verse with feelings. It attracts the Lord. Forget about understanding. I mean, all of us, we have different states of conditioning we may not appreciate, but at least we can chant with that mood. Very powerful words. These are not Hantasmin Janmani Bhavan. Imagine the Lord is telling Hantasmin Janmani Bhavan. In this life, Hantasmin, O Narada, Mamam drashtum iharhati. You don't deserve to see me anymore. Why? Avipakva kasayanam durdarshoham kuyoginam. Avipakva kasayanam. And we should meditate on each of these words properly. For example, if you remember, or if you know that there is a time when Aswathama was releasing that Brahmastra to kill the final descendant of Kuru dynasty, which is Parikshit Maharaj in the womb of Uttara. Arjuna at that time, he speaks a verse. Krishna Krishna Mahabaho Bhaktanam Abhayankara Tvameka Daihyamananam Apabargosi Swamsritehe. Very interesting verse. Now one has to get into the mood of Arjuna. Krishna Krishna Mahabaho. Arjuna is feeling helpless. He is feeling desperate. Krishna Krishna Mahabaho. Krishna only is Mahabaho. He is the supreme protector. He has got all the potency. He has got all the strength. Krishna Krishna Mahabaho Bhaktanam Abhayankara. You can give fearlessness to the people. I mean, we don't know what kind of a situation a material world will put us in. We don't have any control. But if we want to become fearless, one has to remember to take shelter of the Lord. Bhaktanam Abhayankara Tvameka Daihyamananam. The people who are suffering, who are getting burned in this material world, Tvameka Daihyamananam Apabargosi Samsritehe. You can deliver them to Apavargo. You can give them liberation from this samsara. Apavargo si samsrite. Imagine if you're chanting this verse sitting in one comfortable chair. Krishna Krishna Mahabaho. What is that? Bhaktanam Abhayankara. Tvameka Daihyamananam Apavargo si samsrite. You can chant that. But it doesn't attract the mercy of the Lord. It doesn't attract. So these are all special verses. These are all very extraordinary verses. So Antasmin Janmani Bhavan. If you pay attention, the first word is Abhipakva. And Prabhupada translates that as immature. In Hindi, when we are cooking, what is it called? Khana pakana, right? Pakana comes from the same word pakwa. Pakwa is, it has to be boiled. It has to be matured. It has to become soft enough so that we can put it in our mouth and we can digest it. If it is not pakawed, if it is not fully matured, then it is not tasty. The vegetables, raw vegetables do not have, we can't eat it like that. It needs to go through that heat. It needs to go through that process. Then it becomes mature. And a matured thing is tasty. So here the Lord is telling devotional service is abhipakwa. It is not matured. We will see this verse, how beautifully Prabhupada explains. Actually, we are hankering. Yesterday we were seeing that we all want to aspire to have the proximity or the association of the Lord, because that is what will satisfy us ultimately. But at the same time, we don't want to go through this painful process. We don't have that faith. We don't have that shraddha. We don't have that determination. We don't have that dedication. Just one thing you see here, the Lord is telling to Narada Muni that since he has got the darshan of the Lord by following the path of the transcendentalists, the Lord manifests and he says, Kuyoginam, Avipakva, Kasayanam, you still have material dirts, your devotional service is Avipakva, Kuyoginam, you are incomplete in devotional service and you will not get darshan. How will you feel if the Lord comes out and says, still you have dirts, you are immature, you are incomplete in devotional service? You will not feel very encouraged, because we want always that everybody should appreciate whatever I am doing should be glorified, should be nicely recognized. But here the Lord told this to Narada Muni, who is hardly 5 years old. Despite having gotten this opportunity to see the Lord is telling, and the whole life, because that's what his whole life, Narada Muni was engaged in devotional service. The point that we should try to see from this life is our devotional service at any given point in time should not be slackened. I cannot say, बहुत हो गया, कितना करूँगा, बुढ़ा हो गया, मेरा कमर दुख गया मैं. I mean, we are not doing devotional service then. Devotional service increases the hankering, the intensity. We will see in the next verse why the Lord says why he is not giving him the darshan. What is the reason? It is not that Narada Muni was very puffed up to make him humble or to show him some humility. He was taught these things. The reason why Lord did this, we will come in the next verse. But he is identifying these things. Abhipakva, Kasayanam, and Kuyoginam. Now let's see this, how Prabhupada brilliantly brings this in his purport. And what is this Abhipakva, Kasayanam, and all other things which are mentioned? First line of the purport, Prabhupada is telling that the personality of Godhead is described in the Bhagavad-Gita as the most pure, the supreme, and the absolute truth. Where is it mentioned? Mataji? Param Brahma, Param Dhama, Pavitram, Paramam Bhavan, Purusham, Saswatam Divyam, Adidevam Ajam Vibhum. Ahustvam Rishayah Sarve Devarshir Naradas Tatha Asito Devalo Vyasaha Swayam Chaiva Brabhisime. If you remember, these verses just come after the Chatushloki Bhagavad Gita, where Arjuna speaks this. Param Brahma, this is the first time in the whole conversation, if you analyze in Bhagavad Gita, first time Arjuna is convinced about the supremacy of the Lord. That's how those verses are called Chatushloki. Otherwise, Krishna is telling something, Arjuna will again come back saying that, no, why you are telling me to fight when you have told that, intelligence is better than this fruitive activities. Why are you asking me to engage in ghastly warfare? All kinds of reasons. Even if Krishna has started speaking from the second chapter, Arjuna is not getting convinced. But this is the first time in the whole Bhagavad Gita where Arjuna accepts the supremacy of Krishna. Param Brahma, Param Dhama, Pavitram, you are the supreme pure, the supremely pure Lord. Paramam Bhavan, you are the highest, supreme. The word Paramam is used multiple times. Everywhere he is telling Param Brahma, Param Dhama, Pavitram, Paramam Bhavan, Purusham, Saswatam Divyam, Adidevam Ajam Vibhum. And then immediately he backs up his statement by Ahustvam Rishaya Sarve. Everybody, all the rishis also say, including Devarshir, Naradas Tatha, Asito Devala Vyasaho, Swayam Chaiva Brabhishime. Now you also have spoken to me about your position. Anybody remembers what is the first Chatushloki verse? (10.8) Aham sarvasya prabhavo mattah sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvita. Extremely powerful verse actually. The verse where Krishna is telling Aham sarvasya prabhavo. I am the controller, I am the owner of everything that is manifested and unmanifested. Material world and spiritual world. Aham sarvasya prabhavo. Matta sarvam pravartate. Everything manifests from me. Actually it is the same intention of the statements of the two lines are same. Aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate. I am the Lord, I am the controller of everything. From me comes everything, and everything is actually is emanating from me. Aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate. In these two statements, actually the acharyas comment, if one really understands the true sign of one who has understood it, that he will develop love for Krishna. Iti matva bhajante mam. It's such a powerful iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvita. It is not out of fear that one surrenders to the Lord after that. Knowing this truth, in understanding this truth, makes one definitely, his heart melts. Iti matva bhajante. Out of love, out of affection, iti matva bhajante mam. One naturally engages in devotional service. If we have not developed love of Godhead, if we have not developed that feeling or conviction of engaging in devotional service, that means we have not understood the Lord. And then Arjuna, having understood this, he makes this affirmative statement, Param Brahma, Param Dhama, Pavitram, the supremely pure Lord. Imagine you're going to meet someone, it's like some clean room in medical or hospital where you have to be extremely clean externally. You can't just enter just like that because it requires that high degree of cleanliness. And here the cleanliness which the Lord is seeing, not the external cleanliness. He is seeing the internal cleanliness. If we are not clean in our heart, if the heart is not convinced about it, we cannot enter into Vaikuntha. And that is what Prabhupada mentions in the next sentence. There is no trace of tinge of materiality in his person. And thus one who has the slightest tinge of material affection cannot approach him. The beginning of devotional service starts from the point when one is freed from at least two forms of material modes, namely the modes of passion and the modes of ignorance. The result is exhibited by the signs of being freed from kama and lobha. That is to say, one must be freed from the desire for sense satisfaction and avarice for sense gratification. Let's spend some time on this. This is actually referring to the second word which Prabhupada has used in the Lord has used in the verse, kasayanam. There are material dirts. There is kasayanam. I remember there was one picture of Harigopal Prabhu we had taken when he was taking that Nila bamboo. Okay, how was it? Kasayanam, bitter. Similarly, imagine if you are asked to stay in a place which is filthy, which is dirty, or which is, your house is the cleanest, but the moment you step out, it's just, stinking, bad. Who would like to stay in that place? Similarly, the Lord who's supremely pure, if he sees even a tinge of material dirt in our heart, he's not interested in manifesting that. The Lord is there in our heart. Ishvara sarva bhutanam hridyasya Arjuna tishtati. He's there. But to see the presence of the Lord, we need to make our heart Vrindavan. It has to be clean, completely clean. That's why, now we have our Rath Yatra festival which is coming up, and before Rath Yatra happens, before the chariot reaches even Gundicha temple, what is the activity that is happening? What happens? Mandira Marjana, Gundicha Mandira Marjana. And so beautifully this is described in Chaitanya Charitamrita, which is like the post-doctoral study, right? And not advanced, very advanced. But there also this is mentioned that how it is important to clean our heart, cleanse our heart. If the heart is not cleansed, if the heart is not Vrindavan, in Vrindavan the Lord resides eternally. If the heart is free from all the contaminations, then the Lord will eternally reside in that heart. But the challenge is to make this heart clean, like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was demonstrating in that process of Gundicha Marjana, where he was using his own cloth to clean all those dirt, and everybody was he was telling, whoever can clean accumulate the maximum dirt, that is the best process of cleansing. And the dirt that was accumulated by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, very thoroughly, this is, forgetting all the designations, Sarvopadhi Binirmuktam, thoroughly cleansing this, genuinely trying to do this, not for some recognition, not for showing that I am doing, or how much I could do, all those things will not work. And when after that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu washes the walls, the ceilings also, he puts water and then everything comes down. Those subtle things also are removed, because gross things maybe we can overcome. These are all those subtle impurities which are there in the heart, which are in deep corners. They don't go so easily. That requires thorough cleansing. Then the heart becomes Vrindavan. As long as we have contaminations in the heart, that is disturbing, agitating. This is a purport, one of the other purports where Prabhupada is writing. As long as we have contaminations in the heart, then we are very agitated and disturbed. And the Lord won't find it suitable to reside. The Lord will not reside. It's not easy. Narada Muni, who perfected this art of whatever was asked to him, could not have the darshan of the Lord eternally. Who are we? And that is why a sadhaka must be very introspective. Must be. Janma sarthaka kari karo paropakar. There are two things which has to be done. One is, which later on in the purport Prabhupada is talking about, we will come to that, understanding the mission of the Lord. And the mission of the Lord is to take these fallen souls from this conditioned material world. The other thing is, the more important thing is janma sarthaka. Also we have to see whether we are developing or not, whether our life is becoming free from these contaminations or not, or are we still having those contaminations and we are growing those contaminations. That is, then what the sign of that is agitation, disturbance, no taste for bhakti, somehow something I have to do and run away, that kind of a feeling. I should go somewhere else. There is no bhakti in that. Bhakti is a very high platform. I remember hearing one story, not very authorized, but I heard that once Narada Muni had gone to Vaikuntha, and Lord Vishnu was there. And there were so many people who had come to meet the Lord and ask for material things. I want to go for a vacation. I want to have a bigger house. I want to get a good material position. I want to have so many things, material things they were asking. And the Lord was giving tack, 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 tack. And there was one person who came, Lord, I want your bhakti. He said, you go and wait there in the waiting room. Then another person came. He said, I want bhakti. Go and wait there in the waiting room. So Narad Muni apparently was confused and asked the Lord, why are you doing this? You are giving all these people who are asking material things. Why are you not giving bhakti? The Lord said, if I give bhakti, I have to be personally present with him. I will be purchased by him. I want to ensure that the person is deserving. One who is asking this material goals, material hankerings, I fulfill, I give them. You may feel apparently, oh, that person is materially very successful, but he doesn't get bhakti. Bhakti doesn't go to him. But if somebody wants bhakti, then he has to be ready to go through this process of cleansing the heart. The heart needs to shine. The heart needs to be clean of all these material contaminations. Prabhupada is talking about that material contamination. The material contamination comes because of impure desire. And what is that impure desire? Actually, the goal of human life as per Vedic scriptures is to purify our existence. We need to purify. Everything should be used in its original, pure, unclean, what is that? Pure, uncontaminated state. Unadulterated, Prabhupada uses, right, the word. So right now our life is contaminated. Right now our life is adulterated. Right now our life is, it's not pure. So there is a need to purify our existence. And how do we purify our existence? Very interestingly, this impure desire which comes in the heart is the source of all material contamination. The impure desire, one place in the purport, Prabhupada explains what is this material desire. He says the desire to enjoy this material world to the fullest extent. Fullest extent. Oh, he went there. Acha, must have had a good time. I should also go. I should also enjoy. What is happening? In my life, I'm deprived of this. Somebody is having so much of, facilities and money. He had a good time. What am I doing in my life? Nothing. I'm just sitting here doing some. So these are all the impure desires which come in our heart by contamination of the mode of ignorance and passion, which is acting. The subtle form of manifestation of this desire or lust is in the form of enjoying this material world. I need to go out and explore. I want to see this. I want to see that. I want to have that. I don't have this possession with me. How can I get that? When one develops that desire, what does he do? Then he works hard to have lot of economic development, right? I should have money. Otherwise, how will I get these things? So he works hard. So this is how Vishaya Vidushita Sayam, our goal of life becomes contaminated. Bhakti will not come there. It's difficult. Because you are having still those desires to become enjoyer of this material world. This Prabhupada is in the desire to enjoy this material world to the fullest extent. What does Krishna say about reasons for material existence in Bhagavad-Gita? Who can say? Use the mic if you know the answer.
Because we still have
Verse. छोड़ो वो explanation नहीं चाहिए. Verse चाहिए.
Karanam gunasangasya sadasa joni janmashu.
Prabhupada says the reason of our material existence, that verse, he says, that verse is.
We want independence.
You're right. Which verse is that?
Oh.
You're right.
That verse with Kama and Loka.
It's in Bhagavatam. This is 7th chapter. Ichha dvesha samuthena dvanda mohena bharata Sarva bhutani sammoham sarge yanti parantapa. Two things which are mentioned here. One is Ichha, the second one is Dvesha. Ichha, Dvesha, Samuthena. Fully, this living entity who's soaked in these two things, Ichha and Dvesha. Material desires are not going from our heart. Still we have hope, we have confidence, we have conviction in some corner. If I go to that place, if I am in that state of my life, I will be happy. That conviction, that confidence is not become zero. So these are all material desires, impure desires. Ichha and then Dvesha, hatred towards Krishna. Ichha Dvesha Samuthena Dvanda Mohena Bharata. Then there is material calculations. Dvanda is nothing but dualities which is arising in the mind. ये सही है वो गलत है, वो सुखी है मैं दुखी हूँ, उसके पास बहुत कुछ है मेरे पास कुछ नहीं है, वो एंजॉय कर रहा है मैं दुख में मर रहा हूँ. These are all perceptions. This comes because Ichha and Dvesha Samuthena. Dvanda Mohena Bharata Sarva Bhutani Sammoham. This is bewildering. It's a delusion. Sargya Yanti Parantapa, that they take birth in this material world. Can one say how one is having hatred towards Krishna? Is it possible that we are having hatred towards Krishna? We are all devotees, right? We are all worshipping Krishna. But Prabhupada is telling anybody who's there in this material world. So many people say, Prabhuji, आप बोल सकते हैं कि मैं कोई जो somebody who's at my level, I'm envious of him because I'm seeing that he has got something more than me, so that is giving rise to envy in my heart. But what about the Supreme Lord? I'm worshipping him. I know the Lord is supreme. I have got the form of the Lord in my house. How can I be envious of the Lord? Yes. Right, but not very convincing to a materialistic person, right? You're right that Krishna says Bhoktaram Yagyatapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram Suhridam Sarvabhutanam Gyantva Mam Santi Marchati, right? Bhoktaram, I am the enjoyer of all the sacrifices. I'm the enjoyer, I'm the controller, he says. So if we are not doing and we are trying to be independent enjoyer, then we are having hatred towards Krishna, Dvesha. But how do you explain this to a common man? Like a person who's probably worshipping the Lord from his childhood, yet he may not be knowing the exact process of devotion. How do you say him? How do you convince him? No, you have the envy towards Krishna in your heart.
Suppose something which we like most, right? And suppose we also have got chance to get it. So while getting, we are not thinking that this is also this is the thing which is actually given by Krishna, but we are thinking that I have achieved this.
Okay, so how do you become envious of Krishna by that?
Like suppose I want to.
So you got you got whatever you wanted, and you think you have got it, not Krishna has given you.
Yes. So suppose I want to eat some palatable dish. So if we are not offering this to Krishna, and if without offering this to Krishna, because he is only the source of everything.
How you are envious of him? Because you are not offering, because you are thinking this is for your enjoyment. That's what he was telling. Bhoktaram Yagadapasam. Krishna is the enjoyer, but we are not accepting that and we are doing something in our life. But practically, how will you tell someone that we are envious of Krishna?
Here is one more attempt. All the different situations we face in our life, like for example, happiness and distress, heat and cold, honor, dishonor. These are all situations created by Krishna for our benefit, for us to get purified. But when we experience some of those situations, we are not happy about it. We feel that this is wrong, this is unfair, unjust. Whereas it is actually given by Krishna. By feeling that this situation that is around me, if somebody says I'm worshipping Krishna, we should ask, are you happy with the 45-degree heat that is there outside? He will say, no, I'm not happy. I wish it was a little warmer, better, milder. So we should say, but that is arrangement given by Krishna for your benefit. But you are saying it is not good. That means you are hating Krishna.
Correct. That's a good this thing. One other way of seeing it, I mean, this point is, I'll come to that, which Prabhu just mentioned. It's a very powerful point, where we are not able to see hand of Lord in our lives, and we complain about things, people, situation around us, and say that this is not right, this is not good. Basically, that is a sign of envy. The other thing is, I was just thinking to myself, imagine if you have a big house and you have engaged a maid to come and clean the house. Who's that? What is her name? Fernanda. Like Fernanda, she has been given the responsibility of cleaning the whole house, not just toilets, everything in your house. And one day when none of you are there, she comes to the house and she sees that the bed is empty, cupboard is open and there are nice dresses. She wears that and she sleeps in the bed, and you enter in that time. How will you feel? Will you feel happy? Will not feel happy, right? Why? Because the bed was empty, no? Bed was empty, nobody was using those dresses. I will not have given the keys, you see. So this is what exactly happens to us. You know, we may not be, so the enviousness comes when we think, even if it is a small place, maybe Krishna is the Lord in some Vaikuntha Loka, but in this place, I am the king. In this place, in this tiny little place, I am the enjoyer. I don't want Krishna to come here. In my life, I want to enjoy this material world to the fullest extent. Even the services which is given to us, I want to say or prove how superior I am, how good I am. That is the feeling of envy towards Krishna. That is the feeling of envy why we are here in this material world. That is also one of those material dirts. That's why in Chaitanya Charitamrita it is mentioned those, subtle weeds which grow. Skutinati, those jiva himsa, which is nothing but fault finding, or seeing or becoming envious of someone, and those things take time because these are subtle and more powerful. That is why in Bhagavatam, I think we had spoken about this once, there is a process of cleansing which is given. Cleansing everything of its and bringing it to its original pure state. So very interestingly, this verse, Kalena snana sauchabhyam samskarais tapasa ijjaya sudhyanti danehi santushtya dravyani atma vidyaya. This verse is a very powerful verse because it talks about the process of cleansing different things. It comes in the 10th canto, 5th chapter, 4th verse. Some of the things, if you just leave them, kalena, with time they become purified. Somebody urinates, something happens outside, and you just leave it, it becomes clean with due course of time. The land or the material things, some of the things, they become purified on its own. Snana sauchabhyam, if you go to somebody's bathroom, that is the place which is meant for cleansing, right? There was one thing which you had brought once for reaching out to, the back which is also not reachable some places, like you want to clean. That is there in the bathroom. Of course, I didn't use, but it's there. Or you find different things that you can cleanse. You find soap for different parts of the body, or for the hair you have some shampoo and so many things you'll find. Snana sauchabhyam. So by bathing, the body becomes purified, and cleansing the material things, some vessels that we used for eating, we just cleanse it, it becomes clean. Samskarais tapasya ijjaya. Samskarai. The next thing is samskara. Samskara is by purificatory process. It is mentioned in Bhagavatam, Janmana jayate sudraha samskarai bhaved vijaha. We are all born as sudras. Janmana jayate sudra. So worse than Sudra, we don't have any samskaras. But when these samskaras are performed, birth becomes purified. Garbhadhana samskara, or all other those samskaras which are mentioned. The human life is meant for those purification, to bring us up in our consciousness level by purificatory process. Tapasa, by how do you control the senses? Tapasa, by austerity the senses are controlled. The senses become purified by tapasa. Ijjaya, by worship. The Brahmanas become purified by worship, by doing deity worship. They become purified. Sudhyanti danaihi. Dana. Dana is by charity. If a householder is earning money, and he's saying that I'm keeping in the bank which uses the highest standards of cleanliness. You go to the bank, outside there is hand sanitation, hand sanitizer. You sanitize and then you go. You take the cash from the teller, you sanitize your this thing, and he also sanitizes and he gives the crisp, fresh, that smell comes from that note, that comes. So my note is purified. He says, no, danehi, by charity. We don't know how the wealth that we are earning gets contaminated. There are many things, many unwanted, unknown reasons by which the wealth gets contaminated that can be purified by danehi. Then the next thing is, how does the mind get purified? And this is what you were telling, that when Lord is putting us in difficult situations or in whatever situations, mind is not satisfied with this. Santushtya, by satisfaction. Very important thing. The mind can be purified by satisfaction. If you see the austerity of mind in 17th chapter of Bhagavad-Gita, manah prasadat somyatvam. The first thing it is mentioned is by satisfaction of mind. By the satisfaction of mind becomes. If you are not satisfied in life, that is why people hanker. The prayasa comes, atyahara and prayasa comes when person is not happy with his existing situation. He wants more. What is that? More and more will come my way, right? That. So much wealth I have today, more and more will come my way. That's anyway, you'll see that some other time. More and more, I want more. I'm not satisfied. So the mind becomes purified by santushti. And then Atma becomes satisfied by Atma Vidyaya. Atma becomes purified, the soul. The knowledge is required to remove this ignorance. If the knowledge is not there, Atma Vidyaya is not there, then Atma is contaminated. Self-realization is the process achieved, which can be achieved in this material world. If we go a little further in this 6th chapter, 36th verse, Prabhupada says the envy in the heart can go from our heart. So mind you, the envy in the heart can go. If we are clear about our goal, that we want to go back home, back to Godhead. Because we are not clear, we are not sure, we are not determined, that is why there is sense of envy. But when we are sure, and Prabhupada says this, just by having that clear conviction that I want to go back home, back to Godhead, the envy in the heart goes. Anyway, this is mentioned. By the passing of time, land or other material possessions are purified. By bathing, the body is purified, and by being cleansed, unclean things are purified. By purificatory ceremonies, birth is purified. By austerity, the senses are purified. And by worship and charity offered to the Brahmanas, material possessions are purified. By satisfaction, the mind is purified. And by self-realization or Krishna consciousness, the soul is purified. The soul can only be purified by the process of self-realization. And if he misses this, then he'll look for all faults. He'll find so many things. He'll have impure desires. He'll have some other goals in life, and it will not satisfy him. If you see the verse that we chant, which can satisfy a living entity, savai pumsam parodharmo yato bhakti radhokshaje ahetuki apratihata yeyatma suprasidati. If the devotional service that we are doing is not unmotivated, if there are some motives behind doing devotional service, then it will be checked by material conditions. It will be checked by material conditions. Ahetuki apratihata. There will be obstacles because your intention behind doing devotional service is not pure. If there are some other motives behind doing devotional service, you will not be able to do. Because Krishna says, Anya vilasita sunyam. There should not be any other desire other than Anya vilasita sunyam, jnana karmadi anavratam. Anukulyana krishnanushilanam bhaktiruttama. If we don't have that clear motive, we have some other slight tinge, pratishtha asa, or some things, I did this, or somebody should, any other thoughts, then it will get checked. And we will not get that satisfaction. The next thing that Prabhupada says, I have exactly 10 minutes, I'll quickly, the balanced mode of nature is goodness. So minimum that is required is one has to come to the mode of goodness. Passion and ignorance contaminate us, and there is tinge of material things. It drags us down. We need to come to goodness. And to be completely freed from all material tinges is to become free from the mode of goodness also. You cannot just say that, okay, now I have come to the mode of goodness, now it is done. No, one has to transcend the mode of goodness also. To search the audience of God in a lonely forest is considered to be in the mode of goodness. If you remember in Bhagavad-Gita 14th chapter, it is mentioned, Tatra sattvam nirmalatvat prakasakam anamayam sukha sangena badhnati jnana sangena chanagha. Nirmalatvat, this is purifying. Prakasakam, it is enlightening, enlivening. Anamayam, it is free from contaminations. But the problem is sukha sangena badhnati. One becomes bound by the happiness in the mode of goodness. Jnana sangena chanaka. Little knowledge and that happiness that one gets in mode of goodness, he gets bound. Very interestingly, Prabhupada mentions in the purport, one can go into the forest to attain spiritual perfection because the forest is in the mode of goodness. But that does not mean that one can see the Lord personally there. Doesn't mean that you will see. One must be completely freed from all material attachment and be situated on the plane of transcendence, that is Suddha Sattva, which alone will help the devotee get in personal touch with the personality of Godhead. The simple instruction which Prabhupada is giving in the purport, that a neophyte devotee is always recommended to worship the deity of the Lord, Arjuna, rather than go into the forest to search out the Lord. Devotional service begins from the process of Arjuna, which is better than going out in the forest. Have deities at home, come to the temple and attend the deity worship, be part of that. Very powerful. Just having the darshan of the Lord, attending this aratris in the morning, we actually become free from so many contaminations. Then the end part, Prabhupada is telling, in his present life, which is completely freed from all material hankerings, Narada Muni does not go into the forest, although he can turn every place into Vaikuntha by his presence only. This is coming from the verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, which says, Tirthi kurbanti tirthani. This pure devotee of the Lord carry the Lord in their heart. So wherever they go, they make that place as a tirtha. So he travels from one planet to another. Now Narada Muni doesn't need to go to material forest. He doesn't have to go to a forest or anything, because he's carrying the Lord in his heart. He travels from one planet to another to convert men, gods, kinnaras, gandharvas, rishis, munis, and all others to become devotees of the Lord. By his activities, he has engaged many devotees like Prahlad, Dhruva, and many others in the transcendental service of the Lord. A pure devotee of the Lord therefore follows in the footsteps of the great devotees like Narada and Prahlad and Srila Prabhupada, and engages his whole time in glorifying the Lord by the process of kirtan. Actually, Prabhupada, if you see these words, these letters, these writings, the purport that you see, it is some deep transcendental realization of various acharyas who are coming in the parampara. And it is the grace of Prabhupada that he has put those realizations into these pages. We are able to appreciate a little because of Prabhupada's genius. I mean, he being the pure devotee, he knows exactly how we can come out of these contaminations of these material modes for the present age. So he takes those transcendental realizations of all, because this was all not available in writing. Nobody has put it in writing in English before Prabhupada. So he has done that. And how he has done that? He is seeing those realizations of his previous acharyas, and those things he has put it in these words, and it is available to us. So when we follow in their footsteps, who's carrying the Lord in their heart, and when we try to serve the mission of the Lord, we also become purified. Such a preaching process is transcendental to all material qualities. 5 minutes, I want to talk about this particular thing. What do you see in this? Horse carriage, okay? Which is more important, horse or the carriage? Carriage. Actually, no, mic le lo.
Yeah. So in this means horse is means.
कोई कुछ नहीं है, हॉर्स का आंख वांख सब खुला है, इधर कुछ बंद है नहीं.
Both the eyes
हाँ.
are just.
Sometimes it happens, but here it's all open.
No, this is not.
This is there
Actually,
little closed. Okay.
Has to focus on the road.
Okay. Horse has to focus on the goal. Okay. Point taken. Anything? Both are important. Okay.
The horse is tied to a pole. Cannot go anywhere.
लंगर निकला नहीं, उसका एंकर निकला नहीं है. Okay. Both are important. Okay.
Both are important.
Clash, bro. Bhagavatam class, welcome to Bhagavatam class.
Horse is more important.
Horse is more important. Okay, very good. Okay, I'll not go now. Where else you'll go, I don't know. It's standing in front of a nice garden but not getting distracted. I don't know what will come. But yeah, the idea is, as somebody mentioned, both are important, right? Horse is also required, carriage is required. But Madhav said carriage is more important. Carriage is definitely required. I mean, otherwise, people cannot sit. But who's the force? Which is the force which is carrying this carriage? It's the horse. And horse is more important than the carriage. The horse in our life actually represents our Shraddha in this process. Yesterday's verse also had that word Shraddha. Shraddhavan bhajate yomam samaya yukta tamamataha. Yoginam api sarvesham matgatinantaratmana Shraddhavan. Shraddha in this process, like we see in the life of Narada Muni. Determined, Lord disappeared, completely engaged in devotional service. Sometimes we do a lot of material calculations. वो आदमी आया नहीं, इधर 3 आदमी दिखता है, उधर 6 आदमी है, उधर जाने का, इधर क्या करने का, इधर ज़्यादा value नहीं है, हम will go somewhere else. These are all material calculations, which is the carriage. When you have a temple, there will be some management issues, there will be some things that you have to deal with, which can be discussed. We can do brainstorming. We need to do all of those things. But if you only see, nahi ho payega, kaise aayega mandir, how will it come? It is beyond our imagination. Prabhu was explaining, Madhupandit Prabhu, if you see, he talks about 3 things which is very important to accomplish anything in material world. One is called Jnana, the second one is called? Third one is Kriya. Bala. Jnana, Bala and Kriya. You need these 3 things. There is intelligence, there is Bala, and then there is Kriya, the activity which has to be performed. So when we are coming together by some will of providence, it is not that my desire that I have come here, or is it anybody yours, you have desired that you have come here. By some will of providence that we want to serve Srila Prabhupada, we have been together, we have come here together. And we have invested our Jnana, Bala, Kriya here. That, we should help in this mission of Srila Prabhupada. But maybe, when we have put all our Jnana and Bala and Kriya, we realize that the necessity or the requirement is 10 kilogram. And we have got 10 gram. We've got just 10 grams. So how much is remaining? Huh? No. 9,990. That much of shortfall is there. 990 will make it 1 kg. But we are 10 kg is requirement. 9,990 is deficit. That 9,990 will come from Shraddha. Shraddha that the Lord will manifest His mercy. Shraddha that Prabhupada will bestow His special mercy on us, and that we can achieve this. That Shraddha is the anchor. That Shraddha is the guiding force of a devotee. And where does this Shraddha come from? When you lack or when you are disturbed in your heart, you see the classification of devotees in any of the scriptures. It's based on faith. It's based on that Shraddha. Shraddha that I may not have all the abilities, but I have faith in this process. I have faith in Krishna's plan. Let me do my part. When we associate with devotees who have got higher faith, naturally this flows. Naturally this comes. That is why Sadhu Sangha, association, that's the title for today's class, is so important. When we are staying together, when we are sticking to follow this process together, whatever the instructions our beloved spiritual master has given, that team, when that Sangha, when we come, then magic happens. When the horse gets all the power required to carry the carriage. These are some of the important points of this verse. I'll stop here and see if you have any questions or comments. Any question? Online, offline?
two comments on YouTube. Importance of chanting verses with feelings can attract the attention of the Lord by rocks.
Importance of chanting and feeling can attract?
Comments.
Can attract, what is that? Attract the?
Attention of the Lord.
Yeah, it's 100%. 100%.
And one
That's
more
right.
by Ritu Prabhakar, she's mentioning, by merely accepting this body, it is proved that we are envious of the Lord.
Yeah, but to intellectually convince, get convinced about that we are envious, we need to think about it. Of course, it's a fact that the moment we have accepted a body, it's a material embarrassment because the spirit soul is entrapped. And as Prabhupada mentions, but if you intellectually try to understand, which is not possible with our mind intelligence, understand the Lord, but the position that we are in, that clearly says that we are envious of the Lord. And as long as those tinges of material contamination is there in the heart, the Lord will not reside. That's why this process is a powerful process. I don't know if there was one devotee who had visited Bangalore, like Naveen Krishna Prabhu, I'm not able to recollect his name, a foreign devotee, and he was giving a Bhagavatam class. He was asking us, graphically, if you see, let's say y-axis is your advancement, spiritual advancement, and x-axis is the time, right? So you would expect that I have taken to this process, so adau shraddha sadhu sangata bhajana kriya dhanartha nivritti, then bhava prema, it should just go 45 degrees, tack, it should go. But unfortunately the line is not like that. The line can be like this, like this, like this, like this, like this, like this, it is going. Or it far worse, it can be just some, we get some desire to practice devotional service, but we again get pulled away by those material modes, contaminations, ignorance and passion. Then our desire becomes something else. Why will I go? What will I do? Or some other desire, some other process. All these things can be completely cleansed. Vishaya Vidushita Sayam, 2.37, that verse of Bhagavatam, which says the process of hearing this, because this is from transcendental plane. This is not some ordinary book that we have to read. Prabhupada again and again talks about this. Today morning also we were seeing the importance of sadhana. We have to get up in the morning. We have to read this. Then only we can overcome these modes of material nature. That spiraling curve can become straight if our hearing is proper. When the baby is born, what do you feed him? Mother's milk, and what else apart from mother's milk? Huh? Little more, let's say not the baby immediately is born, maybe say 5 months, 6 months. Okay, kya? Pakka. Cerelac, you would have also had, no? You never fed? But they give Cerelac, right, to those baby, those powders, milk powders kind of thing. Cerelac baby. In India, I don't know, there's some equivalent might be there here also. Applesauce, whatever it is given, which is very easily digestible by the baby. But can you keep giving that baby same Cerelac, same applesauce, mother's milk throughout? To kitna umar ho gaya? 25 saal. Kya karta hai? Kya khata hai? Main wo applesauce pita hu. Who's there? Which person is there who? Why we give them rice? Why we give them dal? Why we give them all those things? Because as we grow, we need that kind of feeding. As we grow in our spiritual life, we need also to feed ourselves. Same one page I used to read one line. हाँ प्रभु वो क्लास में जो पढ़ा ना वही पढ़ा मेरा पूरा जिंदगी का एक लाइफ का वो मतलब एक हफ्ता का हो गया पढ़ाई उसमें. That's like baby food, and expecting that a transformation, huge transformation will happen in the heart which is filled with contaminations. How will it happen? And unless we do that, unless we feed ourselves, the muscles don't grow. So we remain like a baby. कितना साल 25 साल 30 साल है काम देखो तो बेबी की तरह मैं कुछ नहीं कर पाता हूँ weak हूँ. That's what happens. So but if we take it seriously and we follow it, then we can be free from all these material contaminations. Any questions? Mataji, Sarada Mataji, any question? Hare Krishna.
The verse that we read today, how Narada Muni, how Lord Krishna was telling Narada Muni that you're not still eligible in this lifetime.
Mhm.
But I don't know, probably it's coming in the next few verses of why the reasons, the reasons is because you're not complete in devotional service. That's what it says in the verse. But then we all know that Narada Muni is an exalted devotee of Lord Narayana. I still can't fathom the idea of.
It is coming. Yeah, if you're feeling uncomfortable in your heart, don't feel, because it's coming. The Lord, it's basically to intensify the emotions. It's basically to increase the hankering for the Lord. The Lord disappeared. So of course it happens in the case in the life of Narada Muni, because Narada Muni could take it in the right way. He knew, and that helped whatever maybe a little tinge of material contamination he had to overcome that. So that will come in the next verse. Actually, the Lord explains that. Similarly, we also get some glimpse, some understanding of what spiritual world is, what spiritual happiness is, what spiritual bliss is. What we need to do is we need to intensify. That's a tivrena bhakti yogena. There has to be intensification of the process with the right intention, because bhakti is not about doing some big things, big services. It's about doing it with right intention, purified intention. I am serving the Lord to please Him. Same holds true when we are chanting also. The chanting process is 1.5 hours. We are having the appointment with the Supreme Lord, who's ready to manifest every single day on our tongue. And I should hear that, because by hearing, that is the obedience to Prabhupada, pleases the Supreme Lord who's manifesting in front of in my tongue. So that mood of pleasing the Lord by following the instruction of spiritual master is a very important thing. That will take care of everything. That helps. Does that help, Mataji? Yeah. Okay. All right. If no other question.
Still have questions in terms of. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.